a lot of snow, but enough to have fun in. So great day to take dogs out and let them do some free ranging, running free. I call it free ranging. So I'm going to show you how right now I put on these collars. These are called Garmin Alpha GPS collars. Stay Jag. So that is the Jagster right there. So I got a really wide angle camera on, so I know you're picking up some of my stuff I'm wearing, such as the phone and everything, how I monitor this. Apologize for that if it gets in your way. But this is a specialized collar made by Garmin. Garmin, the company that makes GPS and tracking devices for people. They make them for dogs as well. So this will actually give me stats on the dog, where they're at, what they're doing too. Like they call it being treed. So they're designed actually for hunters, but they can be used for a multitude of reasons, training, etc. So I can communicate with the dogs with them as well. So you can see, I'm hoping you can, the collar, the special collar, is an inexpensive collar. Chase, stop that. Chase is excited, and he's dominating Zara a little. This I leave long, this vinyl plastic kind of collar. That way I can adjust this accordingly. If this was a collar, okay, Jag, good boy. If this was a collar he was wearing all the time, I would cut it down the size. But because it's not, different weather during the winter when their coat's a little thicker, I can use it as well, and it just helps you adjust it better as it's left longer. So there's a double buckle, or if you will, on the side, like a D-ring to get it through, and I'm trying to get it through both. Hands are a little cold. I'll put my gloves on, but I'm just trying to lace up the collar. So now I'm going to run it backwards to get the length off. A lot of times this extra length on collars, and people use all different variations of these collars, and what happens is, I'll point it down a little, sorry, a lot of times the extra length, especially Jag, who's got a smaller neck, will get in the dog's way. It'll hang down, and it'll be a little bit of an annoyance. Some dogs it bothers, some it doesn't. So what I do is I double it back. I'm trying to show you here through his hair. See how I double it back there? And that keeps it out of his way. It rises it up a little, but it lets me keep it longer, which is nice. Okay, so now I'm going to do the boys in the back who are raising a little bit of ruckus back there. I don't know if you remember the movie Breakfast Club. Can you describe the ruckus? Okay, so stay, guys. What's nice about this van that I use, it's called a Ford Transit. It is low to the ground, so it's easy for the dogs to get in and out of, which isn't too much trouble for these guys. But Princess, who's 15, being low to the ground helps her out a little bit. Now I still usually hoist her up, but she's still able to get in here, believe it or not. Now she's carrying on. So I'm putting Zorros on. I'm trying to get all this stuff out of the way. I apologize again. I'm wearing a lot of stuff to broadcast this. Good boy, Zorro. Good boy. Good boy, Chase. Good boy. Now his is on. I don't need to double it back like I was doing with Chase, because, sorry, I'll get the camera bigger again, because it's, he's got a big neck, he's got a big head. Remember, Zara's part Malamute. All my other dogs are all Husky, all the ones here, at least. Got a Chinese crested dog. So this is Chase. Now Chase, you might notice, he's super thin. That's just his nature, so that's his build, and he's always been that way. He's the most active out of all my dogs. So he actually, I've got a smaller receiver for him. They actually make these collars for smaller dogs. I can use the bigger one, but this one's a little more comfortable on him. I've got a few of these so I can rotate back and forth, but it's actually the box on it, if you will, that lets me communicate. I'm going to show you right here. See that? That's smaller than the other. And with some of the antennas, because remember, these do have pretty good range, and it's because of their antennas. You can thread through the collars as well, because they'll reach, good boys, they'll reach about 14 miles in open area. I mean, a couple miles is realistically what you're going to get. So these are all, by the way, I have them color coded. This is Princess's. Princess is the oldest dog. She wears it too. They all need to, so I can communicate with them, and I can also keep track of them. So she's going to want to stay. Good girl. She's very hyper. Now, the dogs always want to be first out because first out means they're first to finding whatever treasures may be out here. Horse poop, whatever it is. The dead carcass of a rabbit or something, who knows? And now, of course, I keep them out of that stuff as much as possible, but sometimes they'll be able to get access to it, and then I'll have to use my commands to get them away from it. So, whoa, she's jumping into my arms now. Hope you can see this. It's kind of a trip. So I'm doing this, not even looking. She doesn't need to double it back because her neck's still kind of big. Okay, good girl, stay back. She's not gonna like it. So we're putting her back. I'm closing the door again. So once again, I'll bring this up. This is an area called the Big Farm. I call it the Big Farm. It's over 500 acres. By the way, wearing a super wide camera right now. I'm gonna try. I was gonna try to give you. There's a Clydesdale horse over there. They breed Clydesdale horses here, and actually, I think Budweiser has gotten them from them before, or plans on buying some, has in the past, whatever. Kind of cool. The dogs can mingle with some of the farm animals here, and they've been taught. Everybody's been taught to be good, so that works out really well. And I, through our training, can communicate with them to keep it cool as well. Now, one thing, if you were on our last ride, free ranging run, that was on Thursday, Princess and Chase got in a little bit of a scuffle, and that happens. Actually, I'm glad that she's still capable of wanting to flex a muscle at the same time. She knows better, but she's just very dominant, so don't want to discourage her as much as possible. Chase is so well trained, he doesn't fight back. He'll defend himself to a certain extent, but he relies on me to put the cap on her. There's usually, it could break out between any of these dogs, especially in an environment like this. They're a pack-oriented animal, as you are aware of. All dogs are, Huskies especially. And to live inside of a pack, a wolf pack, their ancestors, they actually have to be able to establish a hierarchy, and that's how they do that. And older dogs are typically challenged, especially older dogs that are alpha, to show that the younger dogs make it up through the ranks. And dogs like that don't fight till the death, but they fight until another dog gives up, and sometimes it's an injury. So obviously we don't want any kind of fighting like that, but it's a natural thing. And that's why dogs play kind of hard and wrestle, because they work on their skills that way. But through proper training, you can limit that to hopefully never happening. But in the right environment, it can happen. And out here where we're at in the wild, essentially, it's likely to happen because of all the wild smells and things that show up, bones and, like I said, dead carcasses or whatever, and they want to claim it sometimes. They know better, but sometimes that instinct is a little stronger than their training, and they might go for it. So I have to let them know that's not what they want to do, and if they challenge another dog, let them know that's not the way to behave. But sometimes it's a little, as I said, challenging to do that, and you can get some undesired results. So stick with me, and I'll show you how we work through them. Sometimes through using my collars, and sometimes it's physically where I'll get in between them should something arise. But we should be able to read their body language, and if something does start, if they start getting near each other, then being the pack daddy, I have to control their distance. And there's actually collars out there. We wouldn't need it for my dogs. Usually they have it for guard dogs, watch dogs that are really aggressive and could actually get into a confrontation with each other. These collars are meant to repel each other, so they will let the dogs only get into a certain distance of each other. That's how they control it. Interesting. So I'm the WooFDriver. I'm going to switch cameras. I'm going to end this broadcast and go back to another broadcast. Stay on this channel you're on. You'll catch me free ranging. Sorry I can't see the comments. You got to understand, it's sunny out here. I'm working with the dogs. I have a co-pilot. He's going to kind of steer the camera. And as you know, anything can happen. So it's fun to watch, educational. Living vicariously through what we do is awesome. We're here in Maryland, but at the same time, it's hard for me to read everything going on. So I'll catch up with the comments a little later. Sometimes I'll respond directly on the feed, and sometimes I'll include it on the next broadcast, or sometimes even do a broadcast based around if people have enough questions, if I'm getting enough interest in a specific topic, etc. So you are looking at the dog bus. This is the ATV. When I come back to you, the dogs will be out, we'll be free ranging, and we'll go from there. See you soon. Thanks for tuning in. This is the WooFDriver.